Ambassador Marcus Chen had survived 3 wars, 2 assassination attempts, and a diplomatic dinner where the main course was still alive. But nothing in his 40 years of service had prepared him for sneezing in front of the Valdrosian imperial court. The golden throne room stretched before him like a cathedral made of light. Crystalline pillars rose 3 stories high, refracting the purple suns of Valdros Prime into dancing rainbows across the assembled nobility. 2,000 of the galaxy's most powerful beings stood in perfect silence, their jeweled robes rustling like whispers as Emperor Thexalor prepared to address the Galactic Council for the first time in 3 centuries. Marcus felt it building, that treacherous tickle in his sinuses. The exotic pollen from the ceremony of first bloom had been wafting through the throne room for the past hour, and his very human immune system was staging a revolt. Not now, he pleaded internally. Anywhere but here. The Emperor rose, his 12-foot frame unfolding with liquid grace. The crown of eternal mandate sat upon his crystalline brow, an artifact older than most civilizations, pulsing with the combined psychic energy of every ruler who had ever worn it. According to Valdrosian law, the crown chose the worthiest mind to rule, and for 10,000 years it had never left the imperial bloodline. Honored delegates, the Emperor's voice resonated through the chamber, translated instantly into 1,000 languages by neural implants. Today marks a new era of achoo. The sound erupted from Marcus like a small explosion. His hand flew up too late. His eyes watered. The entire assembly turned to stare at the human who had just committed what was possibly the greatest breach of protocol in Valdrosian history. But something else happened in that moment. The crown of eternal mandate vanished from the Emperor's head. For 3 heartbeats, silence crashed over the throne room like a tsunami. Then the crown materialized, directly on Ambassador Marcus Chen's head. The weight was immediate and overwhelming. Not physical weight, but the crushing pressure of 10 millennia of memories, decisions, triumphs, and tragedies flooding into his consciousness. Marcus gasped, staggering backward as voices of long-dead emperors whispered in languages that predated Earth's dinosaurs. Impossible! The Emperor's roar shook the crystalline pillars. The crown cannot, it has never, but it had. And according to the law more sacred than any other in Valdrosian society, whoever wore the crown was the rightful ruler. Chaos erupted. The Imperial Guard, massive beings in armor that hummed with contained violence, surged forward. Nobles shouted in a dozen languages. Some dropped to their knees in confusion. Others reached for concealed weapons. Marcus raised his hands, the crown feeling like it was burning into his skull. Wait, there's been a mistake. The crown does not make mistakes, a voice cut through the tumult. High Chancellor Vexara, the Emperor's eldest advisor, stepped forward. Her ancient eyes fixed on Marcus with an expression somewhere between horror and fascination. In 10,000 years it has never chosen incorrectly. The law is absolute. That's insane, Marcus protested. I sneezed. It's a biological function. Humans can't control. The crown responds to psychic resonance, Vexara interrupted. To the worthiness of the mind beneath it. Your species' inability to control basic bodily functions is irrelevant. Emperor Thexalor's face had gone from shock to rage to something more dangerous. Calculation. You would have me bow to a human? A species barely past their nuclear age? This sneezer who cannot even control his own respiratory system? The law is the law, Your Former Majesty, Vexara said quietly. Marcus's mind raced. He'd read the briefing documents on Valdrosian succession law, but they'd seemed like ancient history. Interesting trivia, nothing more. Now those same laws were about to either make him an emperor or get him killed in the next 30 seconds. I have a proposal, Marcus said, surprised by how steady his voice sounded despite the cosmic weight pressing on his consciousness. The crown seemed to hum approvingly. The crown chose me for a reason, even if we don't understand it yet. But I didn't come here to rule. I came to forge an alliance. You presume to negotiate? The Emperor's voice dripped with venom. I presume to solve a problem. Marcus straightened and felt the crown's ancient intelligence flowing through him, showing him things, weaknesses in the Empire's trade routes, discontent among the outer colonies, a looming economic crisis that the Emperor had been hiding from the Council. The crown is showing me why it chose this moment. Your empire is fracturing, Your Former Majesty, not from external threat but from within, and you've been so focused on maintaining tradition that you haven't seen it. The throne room fell silent. Every eye was on the human with the impossible crown. Humans have a saying, Marcus continued. We think outside the box. We innovate. We survive, we adapt. Maybe that's what the crown sensed. Not worthiness to rule in the traditional sense, but the capacity to do what needs to be done when tradition isn't enough. He reached up and carefully removed the crown. The psychic pressure lifted, leaving him gasping. He held it out toward the Emperor. So here's my proposal. I return the crown to you, breaking no laws since I wear it of my own free will and remove it of my own choice. In exchange, you accept humanity's application for full council membership and name me as your primary advisor on reforms. You would give up ultimate power? The Emperor stared at the crown, then at Marcus. I never wanted it, but I'll use the moment it gave me to help both our peoples. Marcus smiled. Besides, I have terrible allergies. Can you imagine me trying to rule while sneezing through every ceremony? A sound like grinding ice filled the chamber, the Emperor laughing. You are either the wisest human alive or the most foolish. He took the crown, weighing it in his massive hands. The crown chose you, Ambassador Chen, and in doing so, it has taught this old emperor that wisdom can come from the most unexpected sources. He placed the crown back on his own head, and Marcus watched it settle there as if it had never left. But something had changed. He could feel it in the room, a shift in the ancient gears of power. Welcome to the Galactic Council, humanity, the Emperor said. I suspect you're going to make things very interesting. Marcus allowed himself a small smile. He'd come to Valdros Prime hoping to secure a trade agreement. He was leaving as the first human to ever wear the crown of eternal mandate, even if only for a few minutes, all because of a sneeze. As he walked from the throne room, he made a mental note. Pack antihistamines for all future diplomatic missions. It was going to be one hell of a report to file,